Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. If you're regular here, you know I review many photographic, audio and video related products. But recently I reviewed the Nikon Z 40mm f2 lens. And there'll be a link up here somewhere, but in that particular video I concentrated on its photographic capabilities, how good the still images were. And if you see on my computer here, I did take some sample images out in the garden and they're uploaded onto my Flickr page as well. So as well as looking at that video, take a look at my Flickr page. The reason why I say that is because the images will be much better quality on Flickr than what they will be on YouTube because of YouTube's algorithm and their compression. So I'd highly recommend you take a look at them on Flickr. There'll be a link in the description. This video, I'm concentrating on its video capabilities. And this video capabilities, you know what I mean? I'm concentrating on how good it is as a video lens. And we're actually filming with the Nikon Z 40mm as the close-up shot here now. And it's actually fitted to my Nikon Z5. Now, there's many people that have criticised the Z5 for not being a great video camera. I actually find the Z5 is a great video camera. The downside, when you're shooting in 4K, you're not using the full width of the sensor. It crops in. It's basically a 1.7 times crop. So it's very similar to an APS-C crop. So you're not getting the full width of a sensor, you're getting an APS-C crop of a sensor. And that's absolutely fine. I don't have an issue with that in 4K. Obviously, if you wanted to get a wider view, then yeah, you're going to need a much wider angle lens. So I can see why people are criticising it. Also, it won't film slow motion. The Z5 doesn't do slow motion, and you are very limited to its codecs and what it can do in 4K. But the quality is still there, it's still really good quality, and the autofocus is great. It's still using phase detect autofocus points, unlike some of the Canons where, for example, the Canon RP, when you're shooting 4K on that, you lose your dual pixel autofocus. The Z5 isn't a lousy camera in 4K, it's great. And you can see that because that's what I'm filming now. This close-up shot is being filmed with the Nikon 40mm Z f2 lens. I've got it set to f2, obviously, because A, I'm in lower light being that I'm in the studio, and secondly, I bought the lens because I wanted to create that separation between myself and the background, these cameras in the cabinet in the background. So they are out of focus. And that is great. If I was using something like an f4 lens, then the background wouldn't be quite so out of focus. And you wouldn't get such a nice separation as you do with the f2 lens. So, you know, it is a great lens and it is a great combination. So I'm not having an issue with the fact that the Z5 crops into the sensor. As I say, you get the APS-C crops. You don't get quite the same aesthetic as you would with a full frame image, but it's still really, really good. So as for Nikon Z 40mm, now the other thing I love about the 40mm is it's slightly more telephoto than what the 35mm is, and it's not as tight as what the 50mm is. So it's that sort of, for me, it's a great range, it's a great focal length for me here in the studio, because I'm finding that where I've got a place for cameras, because I'm limited in space, the 50mm f1.8 that I have is a little bit too tight on me, but the 35mm is a little bit too wide. So the 40mm works great for me, and the fact that on the Z5 it crops in, that makes it even better. So I'm happy with the fact that it is cropping it in. I will switch to HD in just a moment so you can actually see what it is like using the full width of a sensor, but it's obviously going to be wider. But we're looking at around about, because it's cropped it in, we're looking at around about 60mm now, and that's quite nice. I mean, that's given me a nice aesthetic, it looks good, and it's a nice portrait lens at 60mm, certainly for video. So I will be using this in the studio a lot. I like the sharpness of the lens, I'm having no problem with the colours, everything about this lens I really like. And the fact it's really light and really compact, it fits, you know, fits on my camera nicely, and as I said, it's working with the Z5 very, very nicely. For, just out of interest though, the wide shot is being picked up over here on my Sony a6600, and that's got the Sigma 18 to 50 f2.8 lens fitted to it. That's a nice combination as well. I could actually have put my Nikon ZFC on as the wide shot, but the a6600 was already set up, so I thought I might as well just leave it set up, as we're, you know, this video is mainly concentrating on the video specs and the video quality of using the 40mm lens, but also what the Z5 is like. So you're kind of getting two videos in one here. So there we go. That's the Nikon Z 40mm, basically in an APS-C crop, because I've got it in 4K on the Z5. What we're going to do now is switch over to the HD, filming in HD, so you can see what the aesthetic looks like using the full width of the sensor. I've now switched over to FX mode, which is basically full frame, because we're now shooting in HD. So as I say, with a Nikon Z5, if you're shooting in 4K, it automatically crops to DX mode, which is, you know, as I keep saying, the DX mode is the APS-C crop. Now we're shooting in HD, we can use the full width of the sensor, so it's basically full frame now, which Nikon call FX mode. And HD quality is still great on the Nikon Z5. I'm looking at my monitor here, image quality looks great, lighting looks fine. So, you know, you've got no qualms in using the Z5 for video, but as I said, it doesn't have the slow motion and many of the other codecs. It doesn't have N-Log, which the Z6 would have. I mean, I can see why Nikon have sort of crippled the Z5 for video production, because they don't want to cannibalise the sales of the Z6, the Z7 and now the Z6 Mark II and so on and so forth. Oh, and the Z9, although it wouldn't cannibalise those sales because it's a very expensive camera and a very pro level camera. But yeah, if you're looking at using the Nikon Z5 for studio production work, or any sort of video work, and you don't need those extra codecs and you don't need slow motion, then I think it's a great camera. I'm going to use it in the studio a lot here. I will use it in APS-C mode, even if I'm shooting in HD, because with this 40mm lens, I can just crop it in just that bit tighter without having to move the camera. So as I say, it's great. And as I said earlier, I found the 50mm lens was just that little bit too tight when I used it in crop sensor mode, which is what you have to do when you're filming 4K with a Nikon Z5. So there we go. That's the Nikon Z5 and, you know, its image quality using the 40mm lens. I hope you found this video useful. I enjoy making these videos. This one's only a short one, but I enjoy making these videos. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already done so, and hit the like button if you like the content of these videos. That would be really, really helpful, and I really appreciate that. So thanks very much for watching, and stay tuned for more videos relating to video and photography. And don't forget to take a look at my Flickr page to have a look at the images taken with this Nikon 40mm Z 40mm f2 lens. Thanks very much. Bye for now.